Hello and good day to you. My name is Omar Elias. I'm here to discuss about the strategy and the global competitive environment. My student ID number is 2015132 and the unit code I will be doing is BSS058-6. In my assignment, I will be starting with the global fast food industry, the current trends going on and the key trends, and also to understand future scenarios, and then finally concluding with the most plausible scenario for the future trends. Just a brief about the industry. Globally, the fast food industry generates about 600 billion US dollars of revenue and is bigger than the economic value of most countries in the world. The industry is expected to have an annual growth of 2.5% for the coming years. Fast food has a reputation for unhealthy food. Generally, however, consumers' tastes are changing and this is continuing to drift towards healthier options. However, even though the industry is at risk, it's not a new dynamic since the industry is already fighting back successfully with more variable health options. Let's move to the next slide. Just a brief fast food market share statistics. As we can see, the basic statistics by fast food industry analysis 2015, the hamburger industry burger chains have taken over around 30% of the market share. And moving on, the key industry trends. The global industry as a whole is related to many factors such as income levels, consumer taste, cultural difference, to name a few. This has been done in my notes as I have understood through external analysis such as Pestel and Porter's five forces. If you look at this slide, if you can see that the first item is the growth in disposable income. When you take the growth in disposable income, favorable demographics have exceedingly supported the growth of fast food outlets. The governments in Asian countries especially have undertaken measures to liberalize investments, attracting foreign players to set up businesses in the countries to sell fast food. And the big fast food outlet chains such as McDonald's and KFC have made use of these changes. The other key trends I have found out in my research is improvement in food technology, attitudes of fast food consumers, sustainability, education levels, and pollution, which I will go into detail on the next slide. In this slide, I have taken 4 key trends from my previous previous slide of the industry trends, and what it has on the global impact. So, taking key trend number 1, pollution. Pollution, when you see that it's something which has been discussed since a long time. However, it's still taking a lot of effort and being increased under scrutiny to understand the fast food industry should do a lot more to avoid more disposable plastic and reduce the carbon footprint. In the subject of pollution itself, like we discussed, since it's there for a long time, the changes are very slow. However, since recently there have been a lot of influences by the governments, so that and due to these strict regulations, things are moving more faster. In my pestle analysis research, we can understand that when government regulations are coming, it is linked towards a political change. However, this interlink of political and environmental factors, the economic effect is bigger. So a good example is that U.S. Food and Drug Administration has tightened its rules so that brands are forced to be more sustainable and find out ways to recycle and improve their waste management. These changes are creating a greener approach towards sustainability. Looking at the next key trend, education level, given that people across the globe are becoming more literate, understanding the calorie intakes and what is healthy and what is not, it has significantly created an understanding of what goes into the body of an individual. The other trend is technology and food. As much as technology has improved to ensure better food production quality, also on another side, due to increasing operation costs, a noticeable trend of moving into digital automation and ordering platforms such as digital kiosks, which replaces physical labor and increases sales volume. Hence, technology in food is a key trend and should be carefully analyzed in future scenario. Looking at sustainability, Trying to make the fast food industry more sustainable is a growing challenge for the industry. However, in recent years, companies like KFC in the US has partnered with companies to reduce waste. Such company called Tiny Planet has come up with an indigenous idea for systems that converts cooking oil into electricity and hot water. Hence, these small steps of implementation and successful results are creating a shift towards this trend. And moving on to my next slide, I have analyzed some crucial uncertainties. There is some crucial uncertainties that is very noticeable in my research. As per the marketresearch.com, they have mentioned that many consumers are looking into reducing the consumption of meat and animal products as a part of a plant-based diet. These consumers are not only driven by the desire to improve their own health, but also they actually are worried about the threat of climate change as well. The plant-based market is predicted to grow from 2021 onwards. Especially the target markets are basically younger consumers who are with Gen Z, millennials, this category, and also parents with young children who actually care about making healthy food and giving more time for their children. Another category to look into is the higher income category, where they have no issue on price factors, so they are ready to spend on sustainable and clean labeled food. Another uncertainty is the demand for local produce. Local grown food is gained popularity, increasing its prevalence from economic and environmental benefits. Consumers are willing to pay a premium for locally grown produce, so big industries have already started to add it into their portfolio. Another important factor to note is that environmental and technological expense should also be noted to see if this demand can be catered due to locally grown produce having a very small or limited supply. Looking at healthy eating habits, a few changes in healthy eating habits are noticeable from the new generation consumers. For in this regard, fast food industries are also one of the biggest investors for new research, where scientists are innovating and experimenting new and different ingredients, such as the use of different seeds, cashew, and different types of milk to understand new plant-based proteins, and moving on to chicken, fish, and egg alternatives, which improves healthy lifestyle. Taking my next slide, in preparation for my two-dimensional grid, I have taken a few key trends which have some uncertainties in the future. Looking at connectivity in terms of reach and other extreme is the consumption of resources. Then in my other table, I have got a high market impact and technology. So when I look into the high market impact, the sustaining markets and the disruptive markets, that is, sustaining market has a improvement on products that aim to sustain the position in an existing market. I have mentioned it as technology of new business models that disrupts the existing market. And in terms of low impact, it has a continuous improvement, the existing products and services, and radical technological breakthrough that transforms industries, which often creates a new market. So, given my understanding of industry trends in my research, looking at the previous slides of the growth in disposable income, technology, attitude of fast food consumers, sustainability, then the education level of the consumers, and pollution, I've taken four key trends from this, which was pollution, education levels, technology in food, and sustainability. However, the most crucial one after my understanding of the two-dimensional grids, I'm looking at the technological advancements on food and sustainability, which I feel are the most plausible scenarios on after my research. So in my slide, I have just mentioned a few names for each scenario just to make it a little more interesting. So we have Boss Burger, which has a high technological advancement, and also environment sustainability is also high. And then Better Late Than Sorry is where the technological advancements are high. However, environment is not not in looked after properly. Then soggy fries is where technology is also not adhered to improvements, and the environmental sustainability they are looking at very strictly. Toss it in the bin is where both the technology as well as the environmental are not looked after. Moving on to next slide, I'll explain each scenario in detail. The first scenario, if you look at it, it's Boss Burger. Boss Burger, I just taken the name, it's because of the burger industry which has the highest market share. And so it shows that this scenario with the use of innovative technology and ensuring the concept of sustainability, it can help to drive successful change in the coming years. And understanding waste and means of recycling. Companies like KFC in the UK have partnered with recycle companies to change their cooking oil into biofuel, and finding ways to recycle paper cups that McDonald's uses to recycle paper cups and bring back recycled material into their business operations. Better late than sorry is where industries and companies involved are already moving ahead with technology at rapid speed, and they are using technology in terms of digital kiosks, etc., and improving their products to provide a faster and better service to their customers. However, on the contrary, they are not looking at environmental impact, which they are using their resources only for profit, ignoring the fact that their wastes are going to landfills and creating unwanted pollution. Furthermore, uses of non-recyclable materials, for example, polystyrene plastics and one-time use plastics as well. These small changes, they can still transform and move on to the other part of the grid towards Boss Burger. Being technology advanced and trying to improve the marketing strategy to benefit profits is not the only case in being a successful business. The industry has to understand the other political, environmental, and technological factors which might affect the use of this strategy in the long run. If you look at Soggy Fries, it's where we look into understanding sustainability, where we move onto more locally grown produce and reducing impact on environmental pollution, and understanding customer needs to go into a more healthy lifestyle. Example, the meat industry has a lot of carbon footprint, usage of a big space, use of farmland, which creates pollution, air pollution. In this regard, understanding sustainability is important. However, what is more equally important is also to change according to technological advancements in the industry. Understand the concept of fast food is the speed of bringing food from the farm to the plate. There are also so many new technologies that have already come, which are further being brought into the fast food industry. The next one is toss it in the bin. There are few companies in the industry still using old practices and traditional methods to cater to the demand of their customers. Some customers, even though they are old school to be they like that concept, it will not last long, because the newer generation don't look into concepts which are old and has heritage value, and millennials have moved on to a more sustainable approach of eating. Using old technology, we are in parallel to not looking at environment, also creates an unwanted waste of resources in terms of providing fast food. To understand why fast food is so cheap, it's meat from fast food restaurants are being created by huge corporations to produce a lot of meat at a very low cost. This defines economies of scale. Using meat cuts and adding all kinds of chemicals to keep the meat for a long time, the meat produced are cheaper, and that's why they are more accessible. So, keeping all of these scenarios in mind, I have selected the most plausible scenario as the Boss Burger, since we have to understand that there is a need to develop strong legislative rules and regulations with support of the governments, so that the environmental factor can be more effective to be utilized if there's government regulations, for example recycling, and to control pollution. and uses of implementation of new technology to eliminate food waste, where a lot of new ideas have been used to convert, example, cooking oil into biofuel, and biofuel has more carbon emission levels than sulfur diesel. So these concepts should be understood and utilized to help the industry and keep these key trends to move on to make this industry more successful. With this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.